Age of Overlord is just around the corner, and in today's video I'm going to cover the highly anticipated new Horus cards that are in the set. These level 8 monsters have easy revival effects and abilities that punish the opponent for removing cards on the field. The main spell holding the theme together is King's Sarcophagus, so let's take a look at that card first. King's Sarcophagus is a continuous spell card that says, Horus monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects that do not target them. You can send one card from your hand to the graveyard to send one Horus monster from your deck to the graveyard, and that's an effect that you can use up to 4 times per turn. Once per turn, at the start of the damage step, if your Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send that opponent's monster to the graveyard. That's a non-targeting, non-destroying way to remove an opponent's monster. Essentially, as long as you have enough cards to get rid of out of your hand, you can keep using King's Sarcophagus over and over again. That's great because you can hopefully set up all 4 Horus monsters in your graveyard on turn 1, as long as you just have a few cards to get rid of. It especially combos well with cards that can replace themselves if you get rid of them, like Volcanic Shell. Volcanic Shell actually can basically fuel your entire King's Sarcophagus line, which is pretty cool. The bonus effects for the Horus monsters are great too. The Horus monsters are already pretty annoying to deal with once they hit the board, but by giving them these 2 extra abilities, it makes them even harder to deal with. Let's take a look at the actual Horus monsters though that you'll be sending, starting off with MTI Glory of Horus. This is a level 8 dark spellcaster effect monster that says, if you control King's Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only special summon Glory of Horus once per turn this way. You'll notice that all 4 of these monsters have that exact same effect. You can only use each of the following effects of Glory of Horus once per turn. You can send 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, including this card, add 1 King's Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand, then you can draw 1 card. If another card or cards you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your monster zone, you can send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. Glory of Horus is a fantastic monster for the King's Sarcophagus theme, and it's probably the most important monster in the archetype. By using this card, you can trade itself and 1 other card in your hand for the King's Sarcophagus and a free draw, which not only sets up your King's Sarcophagus line, but also cycles you further into your deck. Then, immediately after using that King's Sarcophagus, you can just special summon this card for free from the graveyard, and then while it's on the field, it has that deterrent effect, which can be pretty annoying for the opponent to deal with. The next monster we're looking at is Damate, Blessing of Horus. This is another level 8 monster that says, if you control King's Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and you can only special summon 1 of these per turn that way. Like I said, they all have that effect, and that does make them really good discards for the King's Sarcophagus effect. While on the field, gains 1200 attack and defense for each Horus monster you control, and of course that does include itself. If another card or cards you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your monster zone, you can draw cards equal to the number of monsters with different names in your main monster zone. Already you can start to see why these cards are so good. As long as you have King's Sarcophagus on your board, you can summon them for free every single turn, and then if your opponent tries to remove anything on your field, well, they're going to trigger some Horus effects. Next up, we have Hoppy, Guidance of Horus, a level 8 Wind Beast Warrior monster that says, if you control King's Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but of course you can only special summon 1 Happy Guidance of Horus once per turn this way. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your monster zone, you can target 2 cards that are banished and or in the graveyards, either add both to the hand or shuffle both into the deck. You can use Guidance's effect in a couple different ways. It can be used to disrupt the opponent by shuffling back some cards that maybe they wanted in the graveyard or in their banished pile, but also you can put back your own cards, and if you want to, you can even add them back to your hand, which could help you discard even more things for the King's Sarcophagus effect. Finally, we have the Protection of Horus. Let's take a look at what this one does. If you control King's Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and you can only special summon 1 of these per turn this way. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your monster zone, this turn your opponent's monsters cannot target Horus monsters for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target Horus monsters on the field with card effects. Keep in mind that in combination with King's Sarcophagus, this makes your Horus monsters protected by targeting and non-targeting card effects. Finally, we have Kopic Protector, a continuous trap card that says, once per chain, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon 1 Horus monster from your hand or graveyard, but for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters with the same original name by the effect of Kopic Protector. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. This is a pretty good way to put more Horus monsters on the board, and it even sets itself if you discard it with the King's Sarcophagus effect. So with all these Horus cards, we have 4 level 8 monsters that can special summon themselves from the graveyard pretty pretty easily, and the King Sarcophagus can use its effect to put them all in the graveyard on turn 1. The Horus cards are great discards for effects that aren't just King Sarcophagus, of course, too. Forbidden Droplet is a fantastic card, and the Horus monsters are great discards for it, and you have a card like Trade-In that can discard the Horus monsters to dig you even deeper into your deck. Almost any deck that uses the graveyard in some way will want to try out these Horus monsters. They're just that good. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.